specialists and native speakers, right? So, well, now that we are here at this event, we ask ourselves, why are we here? Well, since 1981, women's rights activists have observed 25 November as a day against gender-based violence. This date was selected to honor the Mirabal sisters, three political activists from the Dominican Republic who were brutally murdered. And since 2000, the United Nations officially designated 25th November as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, inviting governments, organizations, and NGOs to promote activities and raise awareness of this issue. We are honored to have here the principals of both high schools, Professor Laura Elena Cruz, principal of Escuela Nacional Preparatoria 3, Justo Sierra, and Raúl Rodríguez Díaz, principal of Escuela Nacional Preparatoria 9, Pedro de Alba. Professor Laura Elena Cruz, principal of Prepa 3, will start our event with a message for us. Welcome, everyone.
Muy buenas tardes, comunidad universitaria. Cada año, justamente como menciona la maestra Alejandra Cervantes, el 25 de noviembre, un día como mañana, se conmemora el Día Internacional de la Eliminación de la Violencia contra la Mujer. Esto implica una jornada de 16 días de activismo en el cual se pretende intensificar el repudio a todas las formas de violencia contra las mujeres. La UNAM siempre ha sido referente muy importante en el desarrollo de los modelos educativos que marcan el desarrollo del país. Involucrar y determinar un futuro sin violencia es tarea de la universidad. Por ello, nos congratulamos por la importancia de participar en este espacio de convivencia, que testifica la calidad, el humanismo y la capacidad crítica de nuestro ser universitario. Los preparatorianos nos sumamos al esfuerzo que radica las conductas nocivas que dañan nuestro esfuerzo para alcanzar una sociedad plural, igualitaria y tolerante. Con esta perspectiva, el plantel 3, que dicho sea de paso también es Embajada Puma, de la Escuela Nacional Preparatoria, manifiesta su responsabilidad por la igualdad de género y se suma a los procesos de cambio para abrir y acumular la experiencia de nuestra universidad, que es de la nación sin violencia contra las mujeres. Sean todas y todos ustedes bienvenidos a este espacio. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Professor Laura. Now, Professor Raúl Rodríguez will give a brief message for us.
Muy buenas tardes a todas y todos. Saludo afectuosamente a la maestra Laura Elena Cruz Lara, directora del plantel 3 Justo Sierra de la Escuela Nacional Preparatoria, a nuestras ponentes, la trabajadora social Trish Snyder, y a la psicóloga Sandy Delgado, y a la maestra Alejandra Cervantes Rojas por su dedicación para la organización de esta conferencia. El día de hoy estamos presentes a un día de conmemorar este 25 de noviembre de la no violencia contra las mujeres. Es muy importante tenerlo presente, pero no solamente en estos días, sino permanentemente durante todo el año y por siempre. Es algo que debemos de erradicar. Ahora que estamos en una situación de contexto en línea por las actividades que nos ha traído esta pandemia, pues se ha incrementado la violencia, incluso en la violencia en los hogares, ¿sí? Entonces es algo muy preocupante. Es muy importante que como parte de la sociedad mexicana continuemos formándonos para identificar, reflexionar y hacer cambios sustanciales en nuestros comportamientos para generar un país libre de violencia. La conferencia de hoy nos proveerá de experiencias y herramientas para crear ambientes seguros, muy importante, tanto en nuestra institución como en nuestros hogares, por lo que comentaba. Por lo que les agradecemos mucho su interés en participar. Para despedirme, invito a todos los integrantes de nuestra comunidad a actuar de manera cotidiana en favor de la eliminación de la violencia en contra de las mujeres. Muy buenas tardes a todas y todos.
Thank you. We would like to thank both principals for being here today and showing their concern about these problems. Let's introduce our first speaker. Give me one moment. Sandy Delgado is originally from Tampico and now lives in San Miguel de Allende. A psychologist for 18 years, she originally worked with teenagers and drug abuse, but her focus now is in women, violence, and relationships. For 3 years, she was the host of the television program Estar Bien, which focused on health issues and psychology. She has also worked with the Instituto de las Mujeres and the Red Cross as a counselor. She is married and the mother of 8-year-old Bibi. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you all for this invitation. I'm very honored. Thank you very much.
Sandy would like us to watch this video before her presentation.
Siempre me he preguntado cómo sería desaparecer. Un día ya no volver más a casa, ni al trabajo, ni con mis amigas. ¿Qué cosas se van contigo cuando desapareces? Aparte de quién eres, de lo que disfrutas, de lo que te hace llorar, de lo que te hace reír. ¿Qué más desaparece? Mamá, si un día no vuelvo a casa, quizá tus enchiladas ya no sepan iguales, por más que te esmeres en prepararlas. Amiga,
Bueno.
si un día ya no regreso, puede ser que no vuelvas a tomar
Buenas tardes.
café. Porque te recuerda demasiado todos los cafés que compartimos juntas. Hermana, si por alguna razón en el trayecto de regreso me arrebatan la vida, ¿acaso pierdas las ganas de seguir mis pasos y dejes de estudiar porque sientas que las cosas perdieron sentido? A veces cuando voy caminando de regreso a casa, pienso que lo más difícil de desaparecer debe ser para quienes se quedan, para las que buscan por años. Pienso en mi abuela, en mis tías, en mi mejor amigo, en mi prima. Las imagino a todas recibiendo un mensaje. Si lo intentan, si alguien trata de ponerse frente a ti, si te detienen el paso, si te agarran por la espalda, corre. Grita, araña, muerde, haz todo lo posible por defenderte. Pero si no lo logro, mamá, hermana, amiga, tía, si a pesar de todos mis esfuerzos no lo logro, búsquenme a mí y a todas las demás. Y mamá, no dejes de hacer las enchiladas que me gustan, porque en cada bocado un cachito de mí te va a acompañar. Amiga, no dejes de tomar café, porque yo te voy a seguir escuchando cada zurro. Hermana, no dejes la escuela, no pierdas la esperanza. Si un día desaparezco, no quiero ser un número más. Porque las que hoy nos hacen falta no son una cifra. Son un abrazo, una sonrisa, un te quiero. Una llamada que nunca llegó y que hace falta.
Well, thank you for watching. I know this is a very strong video, but you know, it's true. It's what's happening here in Mexico and the whole world. So I didn't make this video. A woman that is in charge of the Guanajuato, Mujeres Desaparecidas Guanajuato, she's in charge, Marcela, she asked women in her organization who have lost their loved ones, she asked them to do a video, you know, representing how they feel, and that's how this video was made. Okay, so I want to start. I know Alejandra mentioned it, but I also want to mention today, the day of tomorrow, right? The 25th of November. I think it's a very important date, and I want to, you know, just a little bit in a summary say what it's all about. It's about the elimination of violence against women, but it started in 1960 with the brutally murders of the sisters Patria, Minerva, and Maria Teresa. They were very strong-minded and very strong women, political activists, and they were murdered by the dictator Rafael Leonidas Trujillo in the Dominican Republic. They were called or nicknamed Las Mariposas because they were really strong and they were really, you know, against this dictator. So he asked the secret police in the Dominican Republic to kill them. He didn't give any explanation. He just murdered them, and nothing was done against him. But they were always reminded, you know, they were always remembered with a lot of love because of all what they did against, you know, this dictator. So they were never forgotten. But then on the same date, November 25th, 1981, the first Latin American and Caribbean feminist encounter took place in Bogota. And this was made to commemorate the lives of the Mirabal sisters and also to promote global recognition of gender violence. Because like I told you, they were murdered, but they never, no one knew why exactly, just they were political activists and that the dictator was against them and that they were against him and that he never paid for his crime. So as I said, they were never forgotten. So this encounter, feminist encounter, you know, from Latin American and Korean, they say, we're gonna do that on the same day they were murdered and we're going to commemorate them. So that's like a brief story about why the November 25th is very important. And we always have to, you know, try to remember and commemorate not only them, but all these women, like the video said, that have been, you know, murdered or have disappeared or that they are not with their relatives, with the loved ones. So I want to say first, what's gender violence? The UN, United Nations, defines it as a harmful act directed against a person of any kind, of any gender, in this case, women. And it's all only just because they are women, just because of their gender. And it has this origin of abuse of power, inequality, all that is happening in any country or in any place that don't respect and don't give their rights, right, in this case, to women. The main manifestation of violence against women or against this gender are personal injuries, homicide, rape, sexual abuse, human trafficking, among many other manifestations. And the three main kind of violence, or the three types that exist more, this violence, are the psychological, telling them bad things to them, telling them they're not worth it, telling them that they wouldn't survive with their partner. The physical, which is, injuries and getting beaten and, slap them around. And the economic violence. And economic violence happens a lot in marriage, in families, when the husband or the working partner, they don't give them enough money, or they just give them a little bit of money and they try to control them with the money. And in fact, these three kinds of manifestations of gender violence, all of them try to control and make them feel that they're not worth, that they don't have any kind of worth in their self-love and their self-care is, it disappears because they think they don't have enough self-esteem, self-love, and they're not gonna find anyone who's gonna love them, so they stay with that partner. Okay, and now I want to tell, they may sound like all of us know that we have rights in a relationship. What is very important, once in a while to remember them. And, if you have a friend or a relative or yourself, you are in an abusive or toxic relationship, you need to remember these 10 points or 10 rights I'm going to mention in any kind of relationship you are, especially in a relationship with a loved one, with your partner, with your husband, with your boyfriend. Okay, the first one is you have the right to have an equal relationship. I mean, you have the equal rights. You have that same right to speak what you think and what you feel. This is very important because sometimes men or any other partner might think or might tell you have to take this. You don't have the right to speak your feelings or your thoughts, and that's your right. You are entitled to talk about your feelings and your thoughts or your ideas. So that's the first right. You have the equal, each of you have the right to speak and to talk about what you're feeling and thinking. The second one is you have the right to, like I said, it's related to the first one, to express, to communicate, because sometimes you might express your feelings, but you are not saying everything you want to say because you are afraid, or because you are afraid what he or she's gonna say to you or how he's gonna react. So communication, that's another right. Okay, you need to communicate, even though they might not like what you're gonna say or how you feel or what you think, you need to communicate. That's your other right. Another right, number 3, is you have the right to be listened about anything you wanna say. Maybe something, a joke or something stupid that you might think it's stupid, maybe it's not. But anything that has to do with your feelings or with your thoughts or about your family, you have also that right, the right to be listened. Number 4 is the right to ask and to feel and to enjoy your sexual encounters. You have the right to ask for sexual pleasure and to receive it and enjoy sex. That's another right that's very important. And it's also important that you communicate this to your partner. Another right is to set boundaries. This is very important. And I think it's one of the most important thing to do in any kind of relationship, with your friends, with your boss, at your work, with your relatives, with your partner. Because if you don't set boundaries, and everyone is going to do to you whatever they want, and you're not going to, protect yourself. Boundaries are made for you to take care of yourself and to take care of others too. When you set boundaries to children, you are protecting them. And it's a way to say that you care for them and you love them. So when you set boundaries to protect yourself, you are loving yourself. You are taking care of yourself. And it also helps you, set boundaries. It stops, toxic and destructive relationships. This is very important because when you set boundaries, you don't allow people to mistreat you or to do bad things to do or to disrespect you. So it's very important, boundaries. Okay, another right is to have friends and to have many, you can have your friends and you can go out and, hang out with your friends and go dancing and have other interests in, not exact, you don't have to have the same friends as your couple or have the same interest like your couple. You have your own life and your own things to do and your own interests. You have the right to live your life and to do whatever you want to do and have friends and go out. Okay, so it's very toxic and it's not healthy when they say you cannot have friends and you cannot go out and you cannot do this and that. That's a very, red flag. You need to put a lot of attention when they try to control you in that way, because then, that follows, they start not letting you do something and then they start hitting you and they start controlling you. And, with all this jealousy, you can end up, besides beaten in the hospital, you can end up dead. So you remember, it's not healthy to be controlled in any kind of way. Another right you have is you have the right to be informed of any situation, any decision in your relationship that involves you. For example, we're going to a party, or we're going to take this trip, or we're going to do that, and you don't even know what you're going to do or why. So you need to be informed about any decision that involves you. They cannot take decisions for you. You're the only one that can take decisions for yourself. Another
2 minutes
right.
more. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We have 2 minutes more.
Okay. You have the right to change your mind. You're not always going to be, because, we all change and we all evolve and mature. So you have the right to change your mind. If you like something or you had made your mind and you made a decision and then you say, no, I don't want to, I changed my mind. It's all right. You have that right. You have the right also to feel safe with your decisions and safe in your relation. And the most important one, you have the right to leave anytime you feel like, anytime you feel in danger or you feel that it's not okay, this relationship, you have the right to leave anytime. Okay, I'm done. I finished. I hope this information is helpful for all of you. Thank you so much. Gracias, Alejandra. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. I forgot, guys, to tell you that if you have any question or comment, you can write it there in the chat. And then at the end of the session of both presenters, we will have the opportunity also in case you want to ask a question directly to Sandy or Trish. Well, now let's go with Trish, our next speaker. And she's from the United States and has lived in San Miguel de Allende since 2009. A social worker by trainer, she has been the director of a drug and alcohol crisis center and created a wellness program for older adults for a large hospital in North Carolina. She has also raised money for the domestic violence program in San Miguel and has supported midwife students and founded the group Ser Mujer, which addresses social justice issues faced by women, primarily violence. Welcome, Trish. We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you, Alejandra. It's such an honor for me to be here. I'm talking to you from the bedroom of my daughter in Wilmington, North Carolina. We are on a little trip to visit our family, but I'm glad to be with you in this way.
Ready for Thanksgiving?
Yes, tomorrow is Thanksgiving for all of us. But yes, thank you. Alejandra, can you put up the Ser Mujer slide? The first picture? While we're waiting, I can tell you that Ser Mujer began after a couple of years where my friends and I volunteered for the San Miguel Walk Against Violence. It was sponsored by an organization in San Miguel called CASA, and they trained young people to be health educators, promotores. And the promotores would go out to all the communities and come back and they say, we are seeing so much violence. We just see so much violence wherever we go. And so the organization began a domestic violence program with 3 psychologists. And every year we did a San Miguel Walk Against Violence to raise money for that program. The program, the walk was discontinued, but the people that were involved with it wanted to start another organization for women, and we began Ser Mujer. And I see Ser Mujer as both an advocacy organization and a support organization, and also awareness for the community. But really, the public doesn't really want to see movies about violence or talk about violence. So we had to kind of trick them into becoming part of our group. And I'll show you how we did that in the next few slides. I don't know how many, we can move on to the next slide, next 3 or 4 slides, Alejandra. We just showed up in the parroquia of San Miguel with our own Mojiganga. And on one side, she looked Mexican, and the other side, she looked like a gringa. And we didn't ask permission, we just showed up. And when people came to see what we were doing, we gave out information flyers to the crowd to tell them what programs for training and advocacy we were providing. If you can look at the banner of Ser Mujer, you'll recognize a woman who was holding up that banner, and that is Alejandra. And that's how I met her, through Ser Mujer and UNAM. Okay, if we can move on. One of the programs, well, here's another one. We invited mariachi women to come and make a concert, and people would come and gather around them, and then we would give out more information about what we were doing. Maybe it was a self-defense class, maybe it was a lecture, maybe it was a film, but this is how we got people to come and pay attention. That year, we can move on, we offered a program called Take Back the Night. And we wanted people to know the night shouldn't make us afraid. The night belongs to everyone. So as you can see on the left corner, we would have the procession with the mariachis and our volunteers. And then we created the next year our own Mojiganga, but I have to tell you, I'm kind of embarrassed because she's ugly and she's blonde, but people can have any color hair these days. Okay, we can move on. And one year we did an opening at a big hotel downtown, and in the previous slide you would have seen there were belly dancers and singers, and it was a really wonderful big party. Again, we gave out information about our programs for March. All of our programs take place in March because that's Women's History Month. This slide shows you that we had, we showed one of the films we showed, but I think this series of films was made by someone from UNAM, and that's why I included it. Next, please. Next slide. One year, we participated in making a quilt. As you can see, back in the previous slide, you can see there's a quilt, and it's part of hundreds of quilts that were laid out in Washington, D.C. between the Capitol building and the Washington Monument. but Sarah Mohair was there because we knew that woman who was sitting there. And our banner and many of the other ones also went to the border between Mexico and Canada. I mean, Mexico and the United States. Thank you for that. Okay. I thought I was going to be speaking to students and I wanted to show them these Loteria cards for women with the qualities of women all over the world. They can be leaders, they can be dreamers, they can be caring, they can persist, they can fight, they can vote. As Sandy was talking about all the rights, women have all those rights too. Thank you for the next slide. Okay. We printed these cards up with messages on them, and on the back of it, we gave information about who to call if you think you're in danger, who to call if you think you're being trafficked, where to go for help. And all these messages are messages of empowerment in Spanish, because really, we're not really reaching out to the women that speak English or the American women. We're reaching out to Mexican women, and particularly the women in the campo who really have no resources but are the most vulnerable. Okay, next one, please. We can't always have our program that's sad and serious about the abuses of women. So last year we started the program and we did a concert with 4 different women doing 4 different kinds of music. And if you're wondering what that second woman is playing, it's called the hang. It's like a big walk turned upside down. It's beautiful. And we really wanted to attract women to watch this online. This was online because of COVID, of course. Okay. In the next slide, you're going to see we did a program called En los zapatos de ella, or In Her Shoes. And we collected shoes from 324 people to represent the 324 women that were murdered in Guanajuato in that previous year. All the red shoes you can see represent the femicides, women who were killed just because they're women. It attracted a lot of people, as you'll see in the next slide. Next. People made their own sign. Whoops, we can back up a little bit. People made their own signs and they came to participate and watch, because we had a program from the balcony of that house where all the shoes were hanging. We never anticipated so many people, but it was a great awareness activity. Okay, next, please. And then when it was over, what could we do with all those shoes? Well, we donated all the shoes that you could walk in to ABA, which is the Center for Migrants in Celaya near San Miguel. And we were able to give all those shoes to migrants, some of whom had walked for days and days to get as far as San Miguel or as far as Celaya on their way to the United States. Okay. We tried to support other women's organizations, and sometimes we gave money. But one year we raised enough money to buy tools for the woman on the left who was studying to become a plumber, but she didn't have the money to buy the tools. So we donated those tools. The woman in the middle is Dulce Ortiz, who is a psychologist who is on the committee, and she's the person that introduced Sandy to us and Sarah Mohair. Okay. Ready? Okay. We really believe that women will save the world. I'm sorry you can't see the whole sign, but because we work together, we work with children and women of all ages, because we believe that life can be better for all women if we pull together. Okay, let's see. Go ahead. If you would like to know more about our program, our website is www.sarahmohairsma.com. We also have a Facebook page called Sarah Mohair SMA, and we invite you to visit it. Our program for this coming year is going to deal with the missing women in Mexico. Every day, 5 women a day go missing, and we don't know what happened to them. Were they murdered? Were they kidnapped? Were they trafficked? We don't know. But we've adopted a program out of Canada that hung red dresses for every missing Indigenous woman in Canada. And we are in the process of collecting red dresses that are donated to us from every woman in San Miguel. And in March, we plan to put all those dresses throughout the city. We don't know exactly how many we're going to need, but I think we're going to need over 100 dresses because that's how many women we predict will be missing from our state of Guanajuato. Right now, we have collected 85 red dresses. And when those dresses go up, we'll have a poster with information on it, telling people where to go for help, how to avoid being kidnapped or missing, what it means if you're trafficked, and how to call for help. So this is our big program this year. And I hope we'll reach a lot of people. And even if we just save one person from being trafficked or stolen, I think we will have done a good job. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Trish. Now there are some questions. Everaldo will help us with the questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the talk. So the first question we have is, what is the most common type of violence against women, towards women?
Well, like I mentioned, it's three. The most common are psychological, physical, and economic. I think in my practice as a psychologist, I think the most common is psychological, because a lot of things they say, the way they treat you, it's, it might not be, I mean, you see that when someone beats you and you see the scar or the color in their skin of the beating, but you cannot see the harm in that's going on in your head, and the manipulation and the controlling. So I think the most common, at least here in Mexico, because it's also, it differs, the country, it's different, the violence. But I think here in Mexico, between psychological and physical, it's the most common.
Okay, well, this one, I think the answer you just gave us answers another question that somebody posed. So it's another question somebody posed, excuse me. The question is, how can we identify a woman who is in danger, who is going through this situation?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because sometimes they don't even know, these women, they don't even know they're in danger. They think that it's common that your husband beats you, or that he doesn't give you money, or that he can go out with other women, or he's drinking all the time, or sometimes they think that if they're very jealous and controlling, oh, he loves me, and that's not the way to demonstrate love. That's not love. Controlling and manipulating, and telling you that you won't be able to live alone or live without him. That's not love. So sometimes they don't even know they're in danger, and sometimes their friends or their family, they are the ones that know that she's in danger. So the first thing is that she needs to realize she's in danger, like things like this, watching movies or watching this. There is a very good series on Fox, which is a Mexican series, and I think that's very important that everyone should watch it. They pass these very true events about missing women, and it's very, it's information is the main thing every one of us needs. And if she's very close-minded and she's in love, or she feels threatened, because that's another reason they are afraid of living a toxic relationship, they need to have a friend or a family to open their eyes and get them information. If you know someone, inform her, let her know that she's in danger.
Okay,
I'd
we have another.
One of the frustrating things is that it's really hard to get men involved in these programs. We did a program for men last year, but only a few men bother to tune in. And, you know, women don't rape themselves. Women don't get themselves pregnant. There's a man involved in all these things. So my question to the men is, how do we get the men involved?
Interesting question. What, being invited, I guess, like to these events, I guess. No, yes, I think.
Invitation.
No, I think a lot of information is needed, a lot of promotion. Yeah, we need to learn to. Okay, we have another question too. It says here, how can I get out of a situation where I am threatened financially?
Well, I know it's hard because sometimes women cannot work because they have children or because they have a controlling husband, no? Jealous, and he's always thinking, oh, if she goes to work, she's gonna meet someone else. I think try to make your own money, women. Try to save money. And something that is very important is you have to find your own network, you know, your family, your friends, or getting a job, you know, try to convince him that you're gonna, you know, help with the money, but also save. So having, you know, a network that is there for you, that's gonna help you, that maybe someone, if you decide to leave him, maybe, you know, a relative, your family or your friends can lend you money and then you can pay them back. But you need to have this very strong and trustworthy network to help you, you know, move. But you have to be really sure you're gonna do it and you're gonna leave them, because they try to do it and then they go back again. So you have to be very sure of yourself, sure of your decision, and have your network. Trish, you want to add something?
Oh, I think it's, you know, to be a friend to other women and to make sure you have friends, so you don't find yourself alone. Thanks.
Okay, I think Trish already talked about the question I'm going to read, but I think it's important to mention it again. What places can we go if we suffer from, or we know a woman who is going through violence? What places can we go to ask for help?
Well, you need to look in your community to see if there's a domestic violence shelter. There really isn't one in San Miguel, but I don't know if every community has an Instituto de Mujeres, but I think it's good to know. Maybe Sandy, you could have a better answer for that.
No, it's the same. Every community, every town, every city. And I think the government should help with that, you know, have a shelter for abused women. But if there's not, Instituto de la Mujer can help, DIF can also help, but there's not exactly, you know, a place where you can go and help. But try to look for these governmental institutions.
And unfortunately, the police and the law enforcement isn't always very helpful.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question. What can we do? What could we do to help women in danger, who are in danger?
Information. You know, information is power. If you have all the information that is needed, then you can feel secure and you can feel safe, and sure of making that decision of leaving the relationship or the family. Because, you know, violence or domestic violence is not just your husband beating you or treating you badly. It's also sometimes your parents, your grandparents, your brothers and sisters. I mean, violence is everywhere. And if you're not happy with your situation, you need to take control of your situation and move on, try to move on. So information is the first thing to do. And the network that I was telling you, having always someone there to back you up.
Okay, we have another question too. What could we do to stop so many hateful positions towards women?
Trish?
I'm not sure I understood the question.
Maybe so many ideas that show hate towards women. What can we do to stop this kind of ideas, this kind of stance against women?
Boy, I wish I knew. You know, if we knew that, we could really change the world. But I think there are more and more women who are becoming elected to government. Like, for example, you have this senator in Mexico City named Jesus Rodriguez, who is very much a feminist. And I think if we get more women elected to positions of power, maybe they will start pulling the strings.
You know what, I would like to add something. I think also women as mothers, we need to teach our boys not to hate women. And women as friends, we need to stop destroying each other, and we need to stop criticizing, and we need to stop, backstabbing and comparing. I mean, we are all in the same boat, and when we need to be more, be more like a sisterhood. And it's not, men against women, but we need to stop, machismo starts with ourselves, with women. By women, I'm gonna be cooking, or you are the sister, you should cook for your brother and your father, and you should wash the dishes, and you should do laundry, and your brother, oh, he's resting, oh, he can go out and he can stay up very late at night, and he can go out with his friends because he's a man and you're a woman, and you need to be home and you need to get back early. So all of these, they automatically, program when that, oh, I'm men, so I don't need to do dishes and I don't need to do laundry and I can go out. So it all starts, it's a cultural thing, and it all starts how we raise our children.
And I'd like to add, we need to start early. Boys don't have to play with guns and trucks only, but they can play with baby dolls.
Yes, and they can go to ballet
if they want to. Thank you, Trish and Sandy, for being here. We have lots of questions and a lot of comments in the chat for you. Thanking you. And we appreciate that you are here, and we also appreciate that the principals of the schools are here, showing their concern for this topic and showing and promoting all of this, right? Now, there are both schools, Prepa 3 and Prepa 9, they will have many more events around it. And then, well, Teacher Marta Sonia will tell us a little bit about Prepa 3.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Well, we are going to be working with many activities, and we want to invite you, okay, to visit our website with activities during this week. We will have permanent activities within the framework of the International Day of Violence Against Women. Okay, so as you can see, okay, we are checking all the activities, okay, during, okay, this week, and well, until we finish the year. I would like to talk with you about the other activities, like virtual windows open to, talking to culture and knowledge. We are going to continue with activities, okay, with Museums Night 2. Okay, don't forget, and it is for our students, okay, the Festival of Pastorelas of the Escuela Nacional Preparatoria. Okay, for tomorrow, we are going to be with a streaming from YouTube, okay, with this lecture, women and girls to lift each other up. And talking about Friday, okay, we are going to be with the art and culture, drawing and modeling from the abstract to the path of friendship. And on November 26th, we are going to be talking about migration in the context of neoliberal. And November 27th, okay, we're going to be talking about First Cultural Meeting 2021st, and last, the Return Theater, okay? These are other activities that we have, okay, into this framework, and thank you very much.
Okay, now Teacher Romina will also present to us some of the activities for Prepa 9. Here you are.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ali, and thank you all authorities, speakers, teachers, and students for your time and interest in today's activity. Let me briefly invite you to Prepa Nueve's activities before we say goodbye. This program was designed not only to commemorate November the 25th, but in an effort to build a much more equal and respectful society. We're having talks, conferences, workshops, expositions, interactive escape rooms, single gender activities, and activities for all of our communities. We'll talk about sisterhood, digital violence, sexism, history, support, personal insight Prepa Nueve, the gender gap, body shaming, men's role in violence eradication, the glass ceiling, in education, emotional intelligence, and so many other topics. Please do check our program in our website and through our social media. We'll be glad to share these spaces with you so we can come up with effective and joint solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Romina. Thank you, Marta Sonia, for presenting. Trish and Sandy, we were so happy to have you here. We are so happy that you were here. I don't know if you would like to give a last message to our students.
Trish.
Women are powerful.
Thank you, Ale. I was very happy to share all of this. Remember, information is power, and you have all these rights I told you and many others. And remember, so like Trish said, women are powerful. We can do this. And remember, if the most important thing is awareness, we need to be aware of all these things, all these, the rights and all the things when they're wrong in your relationship, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Laura, Professor Raul, would you like to give a last message? Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bueno, pues thank you very much, everyone, for all the people who were helping us in the organization of this activity, to both principals and both schools. Have a great afternoon, and well, keep participating in all of these activities. Bye.
Thank you, Ale.
Thank
Gracias.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.